energy forecast for Sunday, March 3rd. Okay, so we have a pretty large day on our hands, meaning there are 14 different aspects taking place here today. That is a pretty large day in the cosmos. Now, we also have the last quarter moon popping off here in Sag energy, which, again, the last quarter moon of any lunar cycle is a reflection back. It's time to kind of reevaluate, make some adjustments, rearrange, restructure our inner realm emotionally, energetically speaking, to understand what it is that we're bringing to an end and a closure in order for us to clear the space and clean the slate for us to start new again. And of course, that new will begin under the new moon in Pisces energy that we will be having on the 10th. But we have a chunk of time in between now and then, and from now and then, we're going to be dissecting a lot of the details of our inner realm and, of course, our exterior realm in order for us to realize what we've outgrown, what we're no longer aligned with, attached to, and therefore what it is that we're going to be leaving behind in this old astrological calendar as we lighten the load and prepare to jump into a brand new astrological calendar when we dive into Aries season. So yes, 14 different aspects here today, pretty large day in the cosmos. 11 of those aspects are going to involve the moon. The moon in Sag energy, going to get into the boxing ring, fight it off, square off with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over our roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, discipline. And in this Pisces energy, we're really challenging the old structure of our beliefs, of our dreams, of our hopes, of our wishes. Why? Because the old version of self, who had those particular goals, visions, and dreams, no longer in existence. That version of self is dissipating. We are anchoring in the new version of self each and every single day. And therefore, we really have to challenge what it is that our dreams now are, our hopes, our wishes now are. And that is going to require an overhaul of the structure of how it is that we are looking, perceiving, projecting in our exterior realm. The moon kind of getting into the boxing ring with Saturn is never fun. It's going to bring us a very harsh reality check. It's going to knock the positivity, the optimism, the confidence, the wisdom, the knowledge out of that moon and Sag energy in order for us to kind of see where it is that we've been living too far into La La Land, where we've maybe committed to too much, where we've bitten off more than we can chew in our dreams, in our visions for the futuristic version of ourselves, and where it is that Saturn needs us to come back down to earth, needs us to be realistic in what it is that we can actually achieve for ourselves. Because the last thing we want to do is bite off this big vision, this big goal, this big dream, and then set ourselves up for disappointment when we can't achieve it. Sometimes we need to set smaller goalposts for ourselves in the greater, grander plan and vision of what it is that we would ultimately like to achieve. So this is just going to bring us down a couple of pegs, definitely kind of knock the wind out of us, so to speak, in order for us to kind of realign our approach to the goal, to the vision, to the dreams that we're now kind of looking to piece together and to manifest. The energy isn't going to get much better, though. I'll just be real with you. We're building towards a last quarter moon phase, which is supposed to highlight tension and conflict. So thus why we are sitting in the funk at this present moment. The moon in Sag is going to make a tough interaction with Jupiter, who happens to rule over the Sag energy. But Jupiter, of course, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, is in Taurus energy, a very low, slow approach to changing our physical realms, realizing new options and opportunities for change, for growth, for evolvement in our physical realms. This particular energy, again, is very tough. So we're not feeling optimistic. We're not feeling confident. We actually don't even trust the plan, don't trust ourselves at this point. There's more criticism, more judgment, more nitpicking than there should be for these two very optimistic energies. But nonetheless, we're feeling very grounded, very weighted. Again, kind of feeding off of that earlier interaction with Saturn. And at this particular point in time, we aren't really focused on moving forward. Again, we're in Pisces season. There's more reflection back on the past. And even if we're not going that far in the past, we're certainly more focused on this present moment because there's a lot of discomfort going on in the here and now. And so we have to figure out where it is from a past element or a present element that things aren't so happy-go-lucky. Things aren't so peachy keen. Things aren't so rainbows and butterflies. In order for us to understand the focus that is being put on these particular areas of our life so that we can see that this is an opportunity for growth, for change. This is an opportunity for us to tap into the wisdom and the knowledge and the resources that we've already accumulated through tough love life lessons and start integrating that into this present moment, into the here and now, so that we can build ourselves back up to a point where we're feeling like we have the ability to change whatever it is that we need to change in order to free us from some of these heavier constructs. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, in this Aquarius energy, going to get into the boxing ring, square off with Uranus, who happens to rule over the Aquarius energy that Venus is in. And Uranus, the great awakener, is in the Taurus energy that Venus rules over. So this is a mutual, let's call it activation, trigger. Because, of course, Venus is all about the heart space, and Uranus is all about kind of opening us up to different perspectives, to different methods, to different ways of doing things. We want change, we want progress, we want evolution, but this is a square, which means that the Uranian energy and Taurus energy, a fixed earth sign, is resisting change at all costs. And Venus, in this Aquarius energy, is thinking so far about her futuristic version of self that she's missing the opportunity to make the smaller detailed changes that aren't so big and aren't so overwhelming in this present moment. So we're not kind of sitting in clarity, we're sitting in confusion. We're not sitting in a place of, let's call, supported change. We are sitting in a place where we don't want to change at all. It's almost like we're afraid. We're in a state of paralysis. We don't know what to do. We don't know what's going to make us happy. We're confused about it. We're confused even more so about thinking about making some major changes. What if that is the wrong thing to do? What if we close the door on some people that were actually meant to be a part of our futuristic journey? What if we make the changes, we make the adjustments in our physical realm, and it turns out that we're not comfortable in that situation and circumstance and scenario either? The what ifs in Pisces season are enough to kill you if you allow them to. So we have to understand that this tension, this conflict, is putting us in this state, in our mental plane, in our emotions, even in our physical realm, in order for us to see where we're actually the problem. We're creating more problems than there needs to be. Instead of surrendering to the Piscean season and allowing all of the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, emotion and thoughts to just wash over us, crash upon us like waves and come as quick and leave as quick as they come, we are fixated on trying to figure everything out, trying to make sense of everything. It's not going to happen, okay? So the quicker we can realize that we just have to stay in the observer type of mentality and just kind of take a good look at what is coming, what is going, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, that's as far as we should be pushing our mental powers at this particular point. Any further than that, you're creating problems that don't need to be there, especially where anxieties and the what ifs and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas are concerned. 10:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the moon in Sagittarius energy getting into the boxing ring, squaring off with the sun in Pisces energy. This is what gives us our last quarter moon phase. So anytime that we have the moon and the sun coming together in any kind of interaction, there's going to be an aha moment. There's going to be an emotional awareness that we didn't have previous to this particular tension point, reaching a boiling point, a breaking point. This particular awareness is coming out of conflict and tension. It doesn't always have to come out of conflict and tension, but again, we're humans, and that's how we tend to learn the fastest, the quickest, the most, is through tension and conflict. The moon in Sag is thinking futuristically. The sun in Pisces is thinking about the past. The moon, our emotions, our unconscious self, wants to be optimistic, wants to be confident, wants to be hopeful, wants to build on new hopes, new wishes, new dreams, wants to stand in a new truth, a new mission, a new purpose. The sun in Pisces says, screw all that. You have so much pain and trauma to unpack that you can't even be bothered to build yourself up in that way until you get real and raw and vulnerable with unpacking your emotional pain and trauma baggage. Again, reminder, we are in Pisces season. The whole point here is to lighten the emotional load in order for us to be the lightest versions of ourselves moving into a new astrological calendar. So there is this conflict because emotionally speaking, we just want to think about the future. We want to think about better times. We want to think about when things are going to be good again. We want to think about building and growing and evolving. The sun is like, oh, that's very nice for you. I love that. We love imagination. We love creative type of practices, thinking about what it is that we want to dream and bring into this physical realm and manifest. But if you are not doing the shadow work to clear out your unconscious programming, you are just wasting time living in la la land. And that is the energy, that is the conflict that is going to bring this new epiphany, this new aha moment, this new emotional realization into our consciousness. We're going to be aware of it. And once you're aware of it, once you can feel it, then you can heal it. So again, from now until the new moon on the 10th, and again, may I remind you, listen to your March energy forecast, download your zodiac forecast as well. Listen to the ascension forecast for this week to get an overview on what it is that we're building towards. When we have the new moon in Pisces, that is going to be the deterioration of this old karmic chapter, this old pain and trauma, this old chapter that we're moving out of in order to start building towards something new. But we have to do the work, and it's not enough to just live in la la land and conjure up this goal, this vision, this dream without doing the work to unpack the emotional pain and trauma baggage that essentially will block you from bringing your dreams to life. There it is. Okay, so 1 minute later, so pretty much on top of this particular energy, we have a positive reinforcement taking place. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in this Pisces energy, going to make a positive interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries energy. So this is a positive interaction. We're going to be focused more on healing than we are on the wounds. And this is definitely in the perception of that we have for ourselves and what is possible for us. We are tapping into the positive mental dialogue, the positive narrative needed in order to see us as powerful beings, able to overcome the challenges of the past, the pain, the trauma narrative of the past. And again, this is like literally sitting on top of this last quarter moon square between the moon and the sun, highlighting that particular tension and conflict. And here is another layer of the aha moment that is going to be popping into our awareness on where it is that we're seeing ourselves from a different set of eyes, that we have a different narrative, that we have a different mental focus, and that we are building ourselves up instead of tearing ourselves down. To further that energy, we have the moon in Sag sextiling beautiful interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires in this Aquarius energy that, of course, is very sporadic, very eccentric, coming in bursts, if you will, coming in waves of both positive passion, desire, inspiration, motivation, but sometimes more often than not, bursts of anger. Anger can teach us some wonderful things. But lucky for us, this is a sextile, so we're tapping into the positive energies of this. The moon in Sag, again, kind of like the hype girl, the cheerleader of the zodiac, if you will. We are starting to build ourselves up. We're building that fire, that spark, that flame within us. We're cultivating new passions, new desires, new inspirations. We're building ourselves up to be motivated in order to stay the course. We are going to run into some very bumpy terrain here over these next couple of weeks, and we have to have the right kind of soul and spirit built up within us in order to kind of see those particular bumps through. The moon is then going to trine the north node in Aries energy. This is the first time that we've been able to actually think about the future without having a whole lot of negative energy try to pull us back into the past. And I say that with cautionary note because we're only sitting in this beautiful energy for about a half hour before we're going to be triggered and activated once again. But we're going to enjoy it while it lasts. The moon trining the north node in Aries energy, thinking about the future, restoring our optimism, our confidence, our hope, our faith, not only within ourselves, but in the greater, grander plan. We are starting to see where it is in this present moment, where we have a little bit of work to do to grow, to heal, to repair, to the point in which we are going to feel prepared enough, equipped enough to actually start making some changes in our physical realm. Is it here yet? No. Will it be? Yes. What do we have to get through? New moon and closing the door on this old astrological calendar. So we're only a couple of weeks away. This is a good vibe. This is a building energy. This is a restorative energy. This is a renewing type of energy with what it is that we want to build, to create, to actually advance ourselves towards. Like I said, it's only going to last for about a half hour. Reason being, the moon in Sag is going to semi-square, creating tension and conflict with Pluto, the great transformer himself, in this Aquarius energy. Yes, there is a major change, a major transformation taking place in our inner realm when especially concerning our emotions, especially concerning our soul and our spirit. But this is a semi-square. This means that we have to take a trip down the dark roads of memory lane in order to examine our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, past memories, past narrative, past situations and circumstances that didn't work out in our favor. Why? Because we have a lot to learn from it. How? We have to understand where it is that we were not operating in our wholeness, not operating in our power at that time, and therefore likely gave our power away to someone else, gave the starring role of the movie that is supposed to be us to someone else that was only meant to be a supporting character. So, what are we supposed to do with this energy? Beat ourselves up? Nope, not really. We're just supposed to realize that things have changed. We've done the work. Many things have changed within us, especially growing our self-esteem, our self-confidence, and therefore we are going to integrate those darker memories, those darker thoughts and emotions from past experiences into our present moment, anchor them in so freaking firmly that now it's a part of our coding, it's a part of our programming. We will not make the same mistakes again, and from that comes power and control, which is a lovely thing. So a couple hours later, we have the moon in Sag trining with Chiron, the wounded healer. So this is a buildup of energies. This is a boost of confidence. This is a boost of self-esteem. We are seeing, especially out of those not so nice aspects earlier on in the day, where it is that we're having a little bit of a change in our mood and our attitude, especially, we're seeing ourselves are concerned. No longer are we observing ourselves as weak, as vulnerable, as powerless. We are building ourselves up in energies. We're remembering who it is that we are. We are gaining strength and momentum from reviewing our, let's call it not so nice, past situations and storylines, integrating those particular lessons into our being so that we can move forward with those particular lessons in mind. So again, we will not fall victim to making the same mistakes in our patterns and our behaviors ever again. This is a growth. This is a repairment. This is a healing energy. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with Jupiter. Jupiter rules over the Sag energy that the moon is currently in, so this is going to be intense, and because this is a positive interaction, we are building ourselves up in a big way. We are feeling optimistic and powerful. We are remembering who it is that we are. We are restoring, renewing our hopes, our wishes, our dreams. We are seeing the greater, grander picture. We are definitely ready to see where it is that some of those challenges, those tension points, that conflict point is providing us an opportunity for growth, for evolvement, especially putting forth the wisdom and the knowledge that we've already previously learned from those tough love life lessons that we didn't think we were going to get through at the time, that we 100% did. And now we have the t-shirt to prove it. And we are integrating all of those particular realizations and life lessons into our being at this particular point. Again, Pisces season being the recalibration, the realignment of our soul and our spirit. We are building ourselves up, preparing ourselves for a major leap, a major jump in growth, in evolution. Just when things are starting to feel good, you know that dark force energy going to knock on the door and kind of bring us some bad news. Well, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have two different things happening that is going to make a major difference in the mood and the attitude that we were just positively building in. The moon in Sag is going to get into the boxing ring, square off with Mercury, the ruler of the mental plane, in this Pisces energy. So our heart and our head not on the same page here at all. Again, Mercury being in Pisces energy, more reflective on the past than we are with the moon in Sag, kind of emotionally trying to orient to the future. Mercury in Pisces energy confused as all F. Why? Because the details are very vague. It's interpretive. It's imaginative. It's creative. It's not definite. There are no boundaries. And that proves to be a very soft spot, sore point for a lot of people. At the same time, we have the moon in this Sag energy making a tough interaction with Uranus, the great awakener in this Taurus energy. So normally, if this was a positive interaction, we'd be gaining insight and clarity at this point in time. Well, this is not the case. Instead, we are kind of in a state of paralysis, I would say. We felt so good Well, let's review. We started the day off a little bit rough. We didn't feel so hot. We had that particular square off between the moon and the sun. We started building in our energies up until that point, and then things took another turn. Now we're questioning everything. Now we're at odds between our heart and our head. Now we're confused as all F on what it is that we need to change, what it is that we need to do, what it is that we need to adjust. Why? Because just when we feel empowered enough to do what we have to do to make a change and to push ourselves into a brand new state of territory in our lives, that dark force entity puts us in a fear state paralysis so that we don't make a move, that we're afraid to move ahead, that we start questioning our hopes, our wishes, our dreams, and we start kind of convincing ourselves that maybe we should settle with what it is that we currently have because it's predictable, it's familiar. We know what we're going to get. We don't know what we're going to get if we branch off into new foreign territory. And so don't let the fear paralysis take total hold over you, because only a couple of minutes later, Jupiter is going to make a tough interaction with Neptune. So Jupiter is in Taurus energy. Neptune is in his place of power in Pisces energy. Let me just say here that this is a block. This is a block to our intuition, to our higher self, to our goal, to our vision, to our dreams. This is a block. We normally, if this was a positive interaction, we would be downloaded with insight, with intuition, with a vision, with a goal, with a dream that Jupiter would want to expand upon, would want us to grow into, would want us to pursue. Well, again, the dark force entity is trying to create a state of paralysis in us. We are so overwhelmed with options. We are so overwhelmed with confusion. We are so overwhelmed with emotion at this point that we don't want to grow. We don't want to make a move. We want to double down. We want to anchor in. We want to hold on to dear life, to our physical realm, to the physical circumstances, to the storylines, as uncomfortable as they may be. There is such a state of paralysis, fear paralysis going on in our energy right now that we scrap the whole idea. We don't even want to think about moving forward. We just want to worry about finding comfort in the here and now. We're not going to sit in that very long, but you best believe it's going to be intense as F. So it is going to take a little bit of time for us to kind of shake that vibe off. But the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Sag sextiling. Beautiful interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, in this Aquarius energy. So what we get out of this is like us building ourselves back up again. This is us coming out of that fear paralysis state and reminding us that, guess what? We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be in a better situation. We deserve to be in love. We deserve to have pleasures and joys. We deserve safety and security and stability in our lives. We deserve all that. We're building up our self-esteem. We're building up our self-confidence. We're really convincing ourselves that that dark force narrative needs to really go, because we know better in our heart and soul that we deserve improvement. We deserve freedom. We deserve change in so many different areas of our lives. And so it is this energy that puts us back in the conversation of what it is that we can do differently, what it is that we can improve upon, what it is that our future self wants to be experiencing, that our present self has the ability to start building towards. And so that is going to be a beautiful cap off to a very difficult, very lengthy, very intense kind of day. We're definitely going to be in the right mood, in the right attitude to kind of understand where it is that, yep, dark force entities, they definitely had a hold on us. But again, we were able to be aware enough to override the programming.